Good morning, everyone.
Right, peace and blessings. So gonna we are here, we are here, we are here. Mojuba, Mojuba Ori, Mojuba Egun, Mojuba Mother Earth, Mojuba Orisha, Mojuba Obatala, Mojuba Orunla Ifa. And so we're here today, and we're going to go forward a presentation on the basics of AI. So I would like to ask everyone, if you have your computer available, put a put a thumbs up or one in the chat. Peace and blessings, Brother Adam, Professor Marilyn. Peace and blessings. If you have your computers available, um, because we're going to check in on our chat GPT. We're going to check in on our Claude and on our Gemini, and make sure that we're up to date and in tune, right? So yeah, let's go forward. Sister Chantel.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning, we're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Right, all right. Peace and salvona, everyone. God be black and black with you and things. So this is my slide, my opening image, right? So this is my personal connection, connecting tech and tradition through my lens as a djembe fola, as a musician, as an artist, as an archivist, as a cultural custodian, but embracing and utilizing the tools of technology to advance myself as an artist, as a business entity, um, and as a mind, right? And as a mind. Okay. So we're not going to be too deep in all like that. It's going to be really loose. I'm going to try to stay on script, and then you'll see, if you guys see, you'll see two of me in the Zoom. I have that other one open just in case my computer crashes, because it's been doing that. So and just so we can, I'll jump to my other device to have that on here. All right, so we're gonna go here. So I'm saying peace, family. I'm grateful to be in the space with the Wake Up Everybody community. Before we talk about I want to get this thing straight. AI is not here to replace your humanity, your creativity, or your wisdom. If you can hear me clearly, please type clear in the chat, just so we're all on the same page. Put clear in the chat. And for those who are on Facebook, and are we on YouTube as well? Are we live on YouTube, or is it just live always on Facebook?
We're going to be live on Facebook after
Yeah.
this. Yep.
All right. So those who are on Facebook, just follow along. All right. Um, so some of us are already using AI tools. Some of us are curious, and some of us are still skeptical, and that's all right. It's healthy. The problem isn't AI. The problem is using powerful tools without structure. So you see in my first slide here, in the first caption, getting set up with the basics of AI tools, right? How do we have our tools set up? How do we have our ChatGPT, our Gemini? You know, are we even familiar? And let me ask this the question: Who has their ChatGPT? Who has their Google or makes use of Google Gemini? Who makes use of Claude? You know, kind of put the tool in the chat that you use. Let's do that. Put the tool in the chat that you use mostly, even if it's just Google itself, because the truth of the matter is that Google itself as a search engine is AI. And if you're on Copilot, if you guys use Microsoft Copilot, put that in there as well. All right. That's your sister Latifah is in the building, right? My wife is in the building, right? Okay. So we got, well, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Y'all just drop it in the chat as we go. Okay. So type tool if you have your ChatGPT, if you have your Gemini, right? Greetings, Sister Gina. Yeah, you use ChatGPT and Google as a search engine. Copy. All right. Right. And then I want you to put tool if you see AI as a tool, or put threat or challenge. Listen, let me say that. Let me change that. I don't want to say threat, but I want to say challenge if you feel it's intimidating. If you're still feeling a little intimidated, put challenge. Okay. Copy. Copy. All right. So we're gonna move. So AI is a thinking assistant. Right. Let's shift the mindset. So with that challenge, AI is a thinking assistant, right? And it's an assistant but it's an assistant without direction, which creates confusion. When you have this assistant without direction, just as we have a working partner, a working relationship, right? Without clear direction, it creates confusion. So today isn't about becoming a tech expert, an AI expert. It's about becoming a clear thinker with the tool, right? So let's put clarity in the chat on that. Let's put clarity in the chat on that. Okay. All right. And if y'all haven't caught on already, I'm reading the script that I put together in my chat GPT. Right? So for clarity's sake, right? So I use something called the Clarity Tree, which is a tool that was shared and taught to me by my AI coach and teacher, a gentleman by the name of Rain Horton, fantastic instructor. Uh, so he gave us this, it was called the Clarity Tree. And the Clarity Tree helps to root us right? It helps us to give us the intention, root us in our intention and our ideas about what we want to do, right? It gives us a sort of like a tree. If you imagine it as a tree, right? You imagine it as a tree, that's the trunk, right? So the how we would ask, how we ask the questions, what is our prompt, how we use the prompt, right? And then of course the branches on that tree are what we would see as our answers or the responses, right? Okay, so Brother Adam, you say you're still learning, right? And you're going to learn about AI automation by going through a 4-month boot camp. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Be a triple 10 ether. Be a triple 10. Okay, okay. In late January. Copy that. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Right? So what is AI? Let's look at the second part of the slide here. What is AI? Right? AI is software that learns from data. This is data that's gathered from all over. And let me know if you all, any of this is already redundancy. So, but I'm going to move through it, right? So our AI, it helps predict and generates and it assists, right? So, and it works best with humans. So I want AI to help me, right? So this is where my hand framework, I've developed what's called the framework, hand framework. And that hand framework stands for me. It stands for H is going to be hold of intention, right? To hold the intention, right? To ask with clarity is the A. The N is to navigate responses. And D is to decide what tool to use, right? And the AI doesn't replace the hand, which is the brand of my company, brand of my the name of my business and my brand, right? The Hand Arts and Entertainment, the Hand Enterprises. So AI doesn't replace the metaphor of our hand, right? But it extends it. Okay. So let me ask this question here. This is the third caption in this image. What is LLM? Right? Right? What is LLM? And now my intention initially was to have that hidden, but it's right there in front of you. So we're all going to put large language model. Put that in the chat, large language model. Because as we move with the AI and ChatGPT, we have to identify what it is. And so what is a, put in the chat, what is give me some other LLMs. Give me some other LLMs. And now actually, if we have folks on the Facebook, Sister Chantel, let's ask that question and let's see what responses we get on there. What responses we get. So what other LLMs are there? Or name me an LLM. You can come on the mic if y'all want to, or you can put it in the chat. Right? Come on. Right? Brother Sam is in the building. Sister Sweetness. Sister Rachel. All right. So we got quite a few folk here. I'm like trying to go through it. Don't everybody respond at once. Right? So what is the other LLMs that we have out here? All right. So another LLM is Google Gemini. Another LLM is Claude. Thank you, yes, Sister Yvette. Gemini. And Claude is a AI. Is an LLM, a large language model. Right. But there's others. Right. Right. Here showing it says Sora is an LLM, an image generated LLM, which is moving us to our fourth caption here, right? Multimodal AI, where we can generate text, images, we can generate audio from text, right? We can generate video, right? Mid-Journey, right? Mid-Journey is another image, text to image multimodal LLM, right? Right, okay. What about Perplexity? Yeah, Perplexity is a tool, is another LLM, right? And then when we go into now we have the Google AI Studio. So we have multiple tools inside there, and I'll kind of show us that, and we'll go over that, right? And then we have what are called the AI agents, right? So our AI agents, and let me step back a second because let me stay with the frameworks. So we have a framework, right? So I gave you one of my frameworks, which is HAND, HAND. That is to hold with the intention, to ask with clarity, to end, navigate, the response, right? And then decide what we're going to do with that, right? Another framework that I have that developed with my ChatGPT is called the DRUM framework, right? So determining the goal, reflecting on the constraints, understanding the tool, then to move with the intention. Right? AI works best when it's in, speaking from my lens, AI works best when it's in rhythm with you, right? And not leading you. And we're not just asking it, general questions and treating it like Google, right? Like you just want to get a quick response. Though we can do that, you want to give some decisive responses, right? All right. So for my last part of my script, so by the end of this session, you won't know everything about AI, but you will be able to ask better questions, to feel a little less intimidated. That's my prayer. That's my vision, right? Use AI in a way that supports your life and your work, your professionalism and your personal life, right? Because we cannot fall behind in this technology and the use of this technology and not be able to use it to our advantage, as well as interject our ethics into the space, our world vision, and our ethics and our moral character, right, into it, to keep and put what's called guardrails in this thing, because we also know that there's that we know that there's other things and uses, right, for AI that may not be of a total benefit to humanity, right? Because there's impacts on the environment, right? Matter of fact, y'all give me some feedback. Let me not drop all the stuff out my mouth. Y'all give me some feedback. So what's some of the impacts that we are using inside of all of the technology that we use? What are some of the impacts that we need to have guardrails around it? We need to stand up and even voice opposition to, and find better ways to be supportive and nurturing and keep the environment safe. I'm giving you a hint. So give me some feedback, y'all. I know it's early in the morning to be thinking a lot, but I'm up doing it, so we can do it, right? Give me some feedback. What's some of the challenges? What's some of the ethical mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Use of water, right? Use of water to cool the machinery. Actually, that's exactly right. That's exactly one of the things. What other ways? What other things? We have to cool these computers. We have to cool these and keep these containment units, right? These large containment, because where they have, you keep these mainframes of these databases, right? You know, there's a whole thing that Elon Musk and NVIDIA, right? They're building out these huge facilities on land, further out west, in other countries, right? So it's taking up this land space. It's the use of all the energy, pulling on the energy grid, right? And how to cool the environment. And then it's the use of the technology. What's being used, what the technology and what the information, where they're getting the information from, and then how that information is being transferred back to us, fed back to us. So we have to, you this is going to open up. This is the, you know what, Chantel, I'm ready to transition to share my screen, right? So I want y'all to get your computers. We ready with your computers, right? The information is definitely misleading and subjective. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Maryland. Right? So Sister Chantel, let me share my screen. Now, who in here has an actual paid subscription? That means you're paying, $20 or $25 a month for your subscription to ChatGPT. I'm gonna stay on ChatGPT for a moment. Give me the thumbs up if you got it, or put a 1 in the chat if you have your paid subscription. Right? Let's see if I can do that. You ready for me to share, Chantel? Is it all right? Or did we lose Chantel? Uh-oh. All right, hold on. I'm gonna hold on for a second just to troubleshoot this real quick. But yeah, Shawnee, I see your hand is up. Can you unmute?
Sure. But you moved on. I'm not sure if it's okay to speak about
Yeah, go ahead.
impacts of AI. 'Cause
Absolutely.
okay. So I have two human impacts. Heard the environmental impact. Um, and this one is interesting because I believe that with intention, this won't happen in the circles where we lead, like we are doing now. But the concern is high tech, low touch. The more technologically connected and engaged and dependent we become, the less connected we are as human beings. Not going out as much, not interfacing flesh to flesh, not communicating directly, like talking on the phone, hearing each other's voices, but using technology and AI as an interface between ourselves and other humans. And I think that deteriorates social connection, emotional intelligence, spiritual connection. Like there are many layers to that. And there's an epidemic in the United States. I don't know if it's global. I know it's in the United States around isolation, um, and this contributes to that. I mean, like, there's a whole set of studies, research around people being isolated and depressed. Like, you can literally die in your house and folks won't find your body for weeks. And that's not conspiracy theory. They have been finding that this has been happening. The other thing that I think about, because I'm a creative, is that folks are generating, you said it earlier, Baba, I think I heard you mention this, is not to use it as a supplement, a support, because you're a creative too. I just designed something, a whole thing yesterday. I won't say it in this space, I'll share later, but I guided AI. AI didn't dictate to me. The language can be wonky. I can tell when something's AI generated and people haven't done the work to like tweak it because AI speaks in a certain way, is repetitive, and then the use of grammar, dashes, and like there's a certain structure that AI has that I can tell. And I know so many creatives, and I would hate for us to start being lazy in the receiving of our downloads and navigating. I know I get downloads around creative interaction, and also co-creating with other people, getting ideas from conversation and interaction with community. And I'm complete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that's 100%. You know, that piece the of the social interaction. You know, that piece right there, that's what a lot of our, a lot of our kids, excuse me, our children, um, yeah, all day, every day. And that's why we, we're going to institute a policy in the school of no uh, cell phones in the schools. You know what I mean? Because the kids are not only just being on the social media doing that kind of, being really distracted and into that foolishness there, recording themselves fighting and carrying on, posting it. Um, but also, then you have those children who, and even adults, who just they tune out of the world. It becomes a shelter. It becomes that way of disconnecting, from the world, and immersing themselves in that. We have the cyberbullying, we have the bullying and carrying on. We have the images, these images of self. There's different, um, you know, we go typically we go to the girls and the view of how women see themselves in this self imagery, but also the boys now. I'm not gonna say now. I'm just gonna say the boys in general. Young men are uh, looking at themselves in such a way that they're comparing themselves to other boys, but they're not interacting. They're not the measurement of what it is to be a handsome and upstanding and good-looking young man is based on the standard of what they're seeing online, and then they're how could I say this? Their judgment and their, you know what? I'm not even going to go into that. I'm not going because that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother subject, and I want to kind of stay on this here. But yes, I 100% agree. Self image and self identity complexes and things aside of this. Um, and so the guardrails that we need to have ethically and morally in community. Sister Rachel answer, Mama Latif, I see you here with your hand raised. Um, we definitely have to have these guardrails. So inside what the technology is doing and how we interact with the technology, the imagery inside the technology, and then the environmental impact. But so Mama Latif, I'm gonna go to you.
Peace and blessings, brother.
Bless
You don't want to get into it, but that's what this artificial intelligence does. It causes us, and it's not just our male, it causes us to look at who we quote unquote should be. And so before this artificial intelligence, which was actually artificial intelligence, came from people who had that artificial intelligence, but we thought it was real. And we thought and felt that we needed to look like them, and they were AI. And we needed to talk like them, and we needed to live like them. So you may not want to go into it, but it's the truth, my brother.
you.
It is the truth. And thank you for bringing it up. And I didn't know what this AI was when they started using AI. I said, artificial intelligence. So I told someone who was speaking to me, I said, use your RI, not your AI. And they say, huh? Your real intelligence, because we got it. And that's what the creator gave us. Thank you, Brother Kojo.
I say that's right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That AI, that real intelligence, right? So what I called it, one of my past presentations and in many of my conversations, it's really dealing with ancestral intelligence, and that's we've been talking about that, and that term has been used, in this space and in many other spaces, ancestral intelligence. One of my first that self-identity piece. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna touch on it a little bit. So one of the first things that I did, one of the first successes. Let me go like this. One of the first successes that I had in my experience in working in AI and ChatGPT was creating my first children's book, which for me was a monumental success because it had been an idea and something that I held in my head for almost over 20 years, right? So with the tool, we're using the AI, the ChatGPT, Midjourney, and other tools. I was able to manifest this book. But the thing that came out, speaking to what you just spoke to, Rama Latifa, is that as I'm generating the images, right? So we have the technology where we can text to generate the images, right? As I'm generating images, the first images, of course, even though I'm saying black boy with a basketball or black boy with a drum, right? Or black boy or black children, the imagery that would come up initially, we're talking about this is 2023, um, you know, early 2023, right? Being COVID and everything like that. And the technology was new, but it ain't new because it's been something that's been going on since, truthfully, they've been dealing with this science and technology, since the 70s into the 80s, right? We're bringing it forward now. But as we're getting it in the commercial state and in the out to the public and really pushing this thing forward, the image you generated that I was using Midjourney is giving me nothing but stringy hair, right? I couldn't get that afro. I couldn't get that black African imagery, and then the African imagery was also looking like monkey, was looking like, so I had to really refine it. I had to really pull, and that opened up the door to debate of where we pulling the images from, right? What's the data that they're using to pull these images from? And then you have the socialized, the ideas of what these images, what imagery of black people look like, so then so the imagery of African, and then an imagery of African American. So the African American boy will come up with this fear, with this image, this real thuggy kind of image, this kind of thing, there would be, and so I had to really refine it, to say African American, and I have to give images, actual pictures. So then that starts to go into, so where are we getting the data from? Where are they pulling this information from to say this is what this black woman looks like, right? With the super wide, tight waist, and so you really have this what I'm gonna say, superhero, kind of imagery, right? Over sexualized superhero kind of imagery, right? And then for the boys and girls, children, if I say I want a boy or girl or children running in the playground, smiling, it would still give me back running and they're looking like in fear. You know what I mean? So this kind of thing was coming up. So then, at the same time as I'm working at it, and I shared this with the community, right? So one of the prized images that did come out in my book, the lesson, I boost curiosity, shameless love, right? Was an image of which looked exactly. I said I want a black boy with his grandfather, with his uncle, with his uncle, and just had, and during COVID, during this time, unfortunately, very unfortunately, we lost my father-in-law. He was a very prominent figure within the family, right? And so, yeah, so I'm generating these images, and I'm pulling on images, right? But at the same time, I'm not pulling on images. I'm not uploading images, and I'm just really describing, but I'm continuing to refine it in my language. But inside my language is the thought, is the mind. So I'm gonna kind of go there. So the ancestral intelligence came through because the image that came forward was an image splitting image of my father-in-law, of my wife's father. Glasses, hair, face structure, mouth, splitting image. And I jumped up. I said, Catherine, come here. You know, and I showed her. And that's the first thing she said. I said, who was that? And that was a show and prove of ancestral coming. So ancestors come through, you know, and we put in that positive mind, we put in that mindset forward, and it came up again. Another one of our ancestors came through in Shemaiah. I have an image that I generated that I was and I took an image of, it was actually a photo of my wife of Catherine and our daughter Nasira. There's a picture of them. And I said, I'm just tooling around with it. And then pop, 4 images came up. 4 images of African American women. It was a sort of avant-garde kind of imagery. And lo and behold, and I don't have it prepared to show y'all, but I will be able to show y'all both these images. It is an image and of Shemaiah. Shemaiah came through. So, this is, for me, that's a testimony and show and prove that ancestral intelligence exists inside of our experience, inside of this space, as we move and as we use the technology. Uh, so I went off on that, and so I stayed with that point. So, Sister Rachel, I'm gonna get you in with your hand raised.
Yes, peace and blessings. So something that I'm learning, because I'm learning AI, right? And I'm a writer. I write. I love to write. And what utilizing that tool sometimes takes away my real feelings, and it corrects it to a fault. So I'm also very concerned about data, right? AI thinks a particular way, and we're so intelligent, and we have like a way of flowing and a way of speaking that AI could be pretty much taking that information that we're sharing and now putting it in their database so that when, let's say, somebody else is creating something similar to what you are thinking about, it emulates your thoughts. So I'm a little bit weary on it still. But I do utilize it. I'd be lying to say I don't utilize it, right? But I would create and then ask for an outline or an overview. Please create an outline or overview of what I just shared. Um, or I would say detail this, put this in a detailed um, structure, right? For me, I'm just nervous that that data can be utilized and our ideas can be utilized in a way that it looks like it's generating from AI, but it's actually picking our brains so that they're always going to be out of the game. And I am complete.
So, thank you for that. That is so key. That is so key to this presentation. So, as I mentioned earlier, some of my training and learning has been as a part of a study group that was created by a gentleman by the name of Harain Horton, computer scientist and teacher, and he really opened up an understanding. And then more recently, um, I joined the sisters Alicia Little and Lorette Little. They have their AI certification, which I highly suggest, and I'm going to share some information for those who are interested in um, becoming a certified consultant. They offer a certified consultancy training um, in their as their business. This is what they do, right? And so Sister Alicia, she takes folks through her strategies and what she does very well. Um, and this is a part of the training, part of what I'm running with you guys. Um, so I'm combining all this information here in our settings in ChatGPT. First, let me ask this: who? That's why I asked the question earlier. Who has a paid subscription to ChatGPT? You know, this is not really me. This is not about getting. I'm not getting paid, nothing like that from OpenAI. But who has that? If you do have your paid subscription, right? So your paid subscription opens up, right? Some of the other elements. You can still use ChatGPT on the free version, and you can and it still be very effective and very useful. But with the paid version, you can do things. You can personalize it, right? And you can go further into the controls. So you see here, so in the general settings, so this is why I said have your computer ready, right? And this is why I wanted to do this. So I want to run through this quickly, not quickly, but thoroughly with you, right? So you really see what, if you do not know, some folks really may have already gone through this because the information is out there. This is public information, and folks talk about it a lot. And I would say, Sister Alicia, they call her the Queen of AI, right? So, and I'm in her program and towards the certification, right? So you have the general. So you have your appearance, right? The color, you can set the color, default color, background, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? Your language, set to auto detect for English, right? But because if any of us speak any other language, you have that as the language that will show on the screen, right? So your spoken language, when you're literally speaking, right? When you speak, this is you can choose here. So all of these things matter. But what I'm gonna jump to here is two key places in personalization. So if you're in your ChatGPT, let me back up 1 second. Hold on. So you're in your ChatGPT. You go down here to the bottom where you will see your name. If you do not have the subscription, a paid subscription, then you should still see your sign in, right? You should still see your sign in. You will be able to sign into your ChatGPT via Google, right? So you have your Gmail account and you'll be able to sign in. Once you're signed in, you'll be able to go here at the bottom of the screen, the bottom left, yes? Right? And you go here and you are going to go to, if you want to do the paid, you go ahead, of course, to upgrade your plan, and that will open up, the price point on the plan. So I currently have the plus, and you see it's wanting me to upgrade to the business, which is recommended for what I'm doing, right? You have the personal, which is right here, for you, just us as an individual, quote, paying $20, and then the personal 200, the pro, that's 200 a month. Most folks ain't doing that unless you're really there. And then on the business side, you can have the plus plan again. Solving complex problems, having long chats, create more images and faster, remember goals. All of these resources are here available, and then in the business plan you have here. Reason why I'm running through this is not to sell the company. I'm selling us the information, right? How to utilize it. Once we have a paid subscription, right? Let me back up out of this. Boom, go here. You want to go into personalize it. You want to personalize it. But let me so inside of this, and I'm willing to share my custom instructions. Where it says here custom instructions, I'm able to give my custom instructions based on what I do, right? So I'm going down here. Furthermore, as a generative AI model, you have the ability to produce images in markdowns and links when researching credible credible and vetted resources, right? You are able to produce and generate music notation. This is for me because I'm a musician and I wanted to give it these types of structure and tool guidelines, and as well as guardrails, right? You're able to produce and generate music notation charts and MIDI code for various DAWs like Logic Pro X and Ableton, Use encouraging yet professional tone. Take a forward-thinking view. Always be respectful. Be innovative and encourage. Outside the box. Have forward-thinking view. Right. Be practical. Be practical. Be practical above all. Use quick and clever humor. Right. This is all resource and information that I was given initially in my training with the brother Harain, right? Speaking to it as an LLM, identifying what it is, right? So now you go down to about you. You have your name. You can put in your occupation, information around your occupation, what you do as a business or as an employment. If you're using it to advance yourself inside of your workspace and where you work. If you're a writer, this is where you would put your information as a writer. And you would start to tell it how you want it to perform, right? How you want it to be to use. What is it that you're doing in your occupation? So here you see I put I'm a musician, African percussionist, djembe orchestra instructor, as well as a producer and arranger of hip hop and African diasporic music across jazz, funk, gospel, and soul. I'm also a certified AI consultant, founder of the Hand Enterprises LLC, the Hand Arts Entertainment, where I merge arts education, cultural innovation, and AI strategy to grow my business and support my clients. I put in that information here. So now I have more about me. I gave you, this is, you don't have to do this, but I did it. I chose to do this. It was on me. So as far as when we talk about what information we're sharing with the AI, right? This is what I decided to choose. You do not have to do this particular way I did this. In this space, you can also, what we say, give it your voice, right? Your voice and your character. So it writes and it reads, excuse me, and it writes and it communicates in your tone and in your likeness and how you speak. So I'm gonna jump back, but I want to touch on this because Sister Rachel, you brought up this point here where it says memory, reference, save memory, right? This is where you are giving it your information, right? And you're giving it your reference, so it will keep that. You can turn this off. You can turn it off. You can turn it back on. I choose to keep it on, right? Record mode. I have that on. These are, now in Click Advance, I open this up. Go here and Click Advance, I open this up. These are all the tools that I have open, right? So I can tap into when I want to do deeper web research, when I want to code, when I want to tap into Canvas, right? The ChatGPT voice mode, where I'm able to talk and it will talk back to me, right? Advanced mode and connected search. And now I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna come back to these points here. I'm gonna go down to data control, right? You have the options here, right? To improve the model for everyone. You see what I have this? I have it on off. When you have this, improve the model for everyone, we turn it off. Why? Because this is where we start to share the information with the world. You see? And so that part, when you say, Sister Rachel, in terms of how, where it is pulling the information from, what information you're giving it, and who has had access to that, as well as how you want to start to train your model. Because this is what we're doing. We're training this model with our character, with our ethics, with the things that we value. And so by closing this off, essentially by turning this off, this keeps it local to your interface, your account, you see? So that touches on that, and then I want to touch here into security. So this is right here, your authenticator. So when you're logging in and out of your ChatGPT, if you taking it with you, you don't want to always have it logged in. Some folks, I keep mine. I'm always logged in, but sometimes I have to log in from other devices and other places. I use the authenticator. this secures my account. That's what's, so if you look onto your, if you have on your phone, it's easy, and I'm gonna reference it like this. If you have your phone, right, you can have what's called this Google Authenticator. Let me close that and show it to you. So, oh, I don't know if you can see. There you go. No. All right, screen show. It ain't showing me. Can y'all see? Let me know if you can see.
Oh, it's a little blurry because your background is.
Yeah, it's blurring it out. Um, ah. But if you go into the App Store, if you go into the App Store, and you know what, let me see if I can put it in the chat. Um, go into the App Store, and you can get what's called a Google Authenticator, the Google Authenticated app, and this helps you, right? The Google Authenticator, you can get that, and that'll help to secure not only this account, this particular interface, but if you're working with other accounts and even other tools, other resources, your email, your Gmail account, everything like that. Um, Yeah, you just download, right. Yeah, Chantel says she just downloaded it for her Gmail, right? And it'll keep sending you codes, and it'll ask for whether, so if you're signing into your Gmail, if you're signing into your, um, shoot, if you got AOL, you know, you signing into any one of your other apps, right? You can use that authenticator, but there's many different authenticators. So even if you just type in Google and just put up, security authenticator apps, different ones will come up. But the Google authenticator is very effective and very useful, right?
Cool. I just want to add for the authenticator why we used it. We have a new member of the team who's actually she's out of the country. She's in South Africa, and she's run into a lot of um, red tape or around the signing in because she was in a different country. The activity was unknown, and sending it to an iPad, and the iPad we didn't have access to, and this person we didn't have access to for the phone and the text messages. So it was a way to have this one app where it was sending the codes to just that one app, and you can get. We were able to send her the code to log in, so it's like an override to the other authenticators that you might have in your settings on your Gmail or your Gmail account in general.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing international work or if you can't remember what phone you tied it to or what device, it's another way to get around that too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's another piece there. So these are important things on the back end, on the behind the scenes, right? That you want to have inside of your ChatGPT, right? This down here, I just went back to the security page. This down here is the enabling advice for code authorization with Codex. So if you're advanced, if you're into and utilizing writing code, building websites, building other apps and other tools, you can go in and you have this open so that you can use here Codex, and Codex allows you to gives you the ability to write code to actually build out websites and apps and other tools, right? So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. But in the personalization, this is the key piece. So I'm willing to, and I'll do this here. I'm gonna throw this in the chat for you. See, this is my custom instruction. So for those who are on the Zoom and you want to make use of it, I'm going to copy this. Now, I will say to you when it gets down to where I talk about, please read through it. When it gets down here where I talk about generating music and things like that, you want to change that to what you use it for. So if you're a writer, if you're a medical researcher, if you're a health practitioner, you want to put that, change that part of the music piece. Of course, if you're into music, definitely use it. Um, but this structure here will will help you out in your custom instruction. And then inside of here, you can also put a sample of your own writing. So let me do this here, right? Yeah. Uh-oh, it may be too much. I may have to break that up. All right, because I see that the word count is high. So in the chat, so I'm gonna have to break that up. Give me a second. What I may do is I may make it into let me see another way to deal with it. This is the Rachel. I also want to jump back to your point is inside of here which says custom instruction. So another step, another strategy to take is that you would go into your chat, you open up a new chat, and literally utilize the voice, right? Utilize your dictation. I'm sorry, utilize the voice mode, right? And literally talk out your ideas. This is for everybody, but I'm pointing out to Sister Rachel. Talk out your idea, literally doing like a brain dump. This is a technique from from Alicia Little. You will brain dump, and then at the beginning, and then so it literally will transcribe that into the chat, into the window here, right? You can also use the dictate button. It'll record your voice, and literally, as I'm speaking, it's recording my voice. And then when I click the check button, as I'm finished throwing out my idea, and I'm saying whatever it is I want to do, and this is what I want to go, and this is how much money I want to make, and this is what I want to build, right? I'm finished. I click the check button, it's spinning here. It will transcribe it, and it'll be written out here. I don't know why it's not doing that. Let me try it one more again. It should do that. They didn't do it. Okay, so it's recording me, la la la. Yes, I'm let me not do the la la la, but let me give it. I want to give you some specific instructions on building a new website for myself as a musician and an artist, as a in my showing my intellectual property. Okay, bam. I'm hitting let me hit enter. Let's see if it'll act right. Yes. So you see this? So now I go back to the beginning, to the front of this, what it just transcribed into text, and I say refine this into a clear well, I can't spell. Prompt for chat GPT. And then I put the colon there, right? So it'll say refine this for clarity and for best for a for best prompt for ChatGPT. So it will literally take all of this that I just spoke and refine it into a prompt, and then you recopy that. You see, there are two polished versions you could use into ChatGPT: clean, high signal prompt. And so you would copy this back into, I want to build a new personal website, blah, blah, blah. Literally copy the whole piece and feed that back into your ChatGPT. Copy it right here, paste it there. And so when it generates this back, it's generating back an optimized response from your optimized prompt. So we talk about prompting, which is a technique or a it's called prompt engineering. Excuse me, my brain is not braining right now. Prompt engineering, the language that you use, how you prompt, how you write your uh, uh, um, your thought and what you wanted to give. What is your intention? What is your goal? What is the things you want to achieve with what you want to do in this particular moment? You working in your chat GPT. And so this is a strategy for those of us who are not necessarily proficient in prompting, right? Prompting is actually is a profession, right? It's a highly paid profession, highly sought after skill and profession. But this is a workaround. This is a technique and strategy is a workaround. Um, and so for me, because it knows, I've worked with it so much, um, it gives all of this here. So it says, act as a web strategist, copywriter, UX designer first, and to first propose the best style and structure for my website, right? Because remember, I said I want to build a new personal website that positions me as a professional musician, artist, clearly showcasing my intellectual property, music releases, compositions, performances, teaching, education, work, and media. And that's coming from me just throwing out this idea. Okay, it's recording me, la la la. Yes, I want the la la la. You see, I just gave it gibberish, but I said in my one sentence, I want to give you some specific instructions to build a new website for myself as a musician and artist, as as a in my showing my intellectual property. Okay, bam, and you see how I generated it back. So this is a strategy and technique that you can utilize if you ever get stuck. I get stuck all the time. So you literally can speak your thoughts, speak your ideas, just do a brain dump. You got a whole bunch on your mind. You run it all out and then say, refine this for best optimized prompt, right? Refine this into, and for clarity, I meant to put and, right? Refine this into and for clarity and for the best prompt for ChatGPT, right? And you throw that. This one should go be maybe fine to go into the chat. I'll put that there. All right, and I didn't even stop, y'all. I'm sorry. We passed 8 o'clock, and I think I was supposed to stop to say, does anybody need to go? All right, anybody needs it. So Chantel is putting up the love offering and the contact information. All right. Sister Latifah, how has it to help you as a musician and or not help? How can it help me as a dancing choreographer? Excellent question. So it definitely, you can utilize it to organize your stage performance. You can, as a choreographer, you give in the direction, upstage, downstage, center stage, right stage, left stage. How you want, you can actually have it, to generate images. You can describe the image of what the setting is, how you want